Hi everyone, this is Robyn and welcome to my Wood Words online class. I'm so excited and happy and grateful that you signed up for it. I hope you enjoy all of the projects from this class. It was a little bit different than my regular classes. We're doing note cards in this class, and we're also making a three-dimensional item, which is a crate. So you should have received in your class package the Wood Words stamp set and the wood crate framelit set that includes the framelit for the wood crate, a little tag, a moon, star, heart, and for the chicken. Okay, this is a really fun one. I'm so excited that it's back in stock because it went out of stock when I was placing my class order. So I'm so excited it's back in stock. You should have also received the Berry Burst ink pad and the class materials package. Be very careful when you're pulling this out. I used 6x6 paper in here. It might get a little dinged on the edges, but that's okay because we're not using the edges too much because we're using it for the wood crate and for some other little pieces. You also will need for this class the Early Espresso ink pad, Bermuda Bay ink pad, and Daffodil Delight ink pad. So let's go ahead and get started. You'll also need your Big Shot, your adhesive, dimensionals, glue dots, and scissors. We're going to go ahead and get started with the wood crate 3D item first. So let's go ahead and open up our packet carefully. And in the back, underneath the chipboard, you should have 2 of our 6x8 cellophane bags, cello bags, and we'll be using 1 for each of the sets of note cards with the crate note card holder. So we'll set those aside. And let's pull everything out. Okay, so this is what you should have received, this right here. And it was fun. There was a lot of little pieces for this class. It was really fun to prepare. All right, on the very back, you should have the Wood Words online class supply list. This has all of the materials that I used in the class packet. So if you'd like to reorder and make more of these, you can. This has the item number, and if it's an item that you need to cut, I have the sizes here. It's usually just the note card bases and the layers that I have the sizes on here. So we'll set that aside. All right, now you will have at the very back, you'll have 3 different sheets, and everybody will have different ones as well. This is all from our wood crate packet. They're all different. You'll need 1 of them, 2 of them, or 1 sheet for a card. So decide which one that you want for a card. I'm usually going to use I think for me, I'm going to use the one that's just more plain and versatile. And then for my crate, then these are each going to be a crate. For my crate, I'm going to go ahead and make this color crate. And then this one will also be for a crate, so you can set it aside. And we'll go ahead and cut this. I'm going to show you how from 1 6x6 you have enough for the whole crate because you need to cut this piece 2 times for 1 crate. So what you'll do is you'll put your 6x6 piece of paper here. You'll have one side on the edge right here. This is going to be the bottom of the crate. So actually what's going to happen is after we cut this twice, a little bit of the corner will be cut off, but that's okay because you're not going to see it anyway. So do one like this and then run it through. All right. And then let's pop this out. You can just carefully pop it out. You want to tear it. There we go. And then now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn this way. And like I said a second ago, it's totally fine that this part's going to be missing because it's going to be on the bottom of your note holder, your crate. And that way you can utilize your 6x6 paper without a lot of waste. Okay, run that through. And then we're going to use this one more time for our crate holder. So now, let me just set this aside and we'll put it together in just a few minutes. Now we're going to pull out the tag right here. And I have everything in order, so be very careful with this packet This top piece here, you're gonna have this long piece. This is for your crate holder. So set that aside. This piece of white twine you need. And these two doilies you'll need for the top, and the top piece of white is what you'll use. Everything else is for the note cards, so go ahead and set those aside. We're going to use, I gave you guys a lot of extra Whisper white cardstock for all of the projects, so you're going to have quite a bit left over. You can use it for extra projects you want to make, or if you make a mistake. It was easier for me to cut out in 1/8 sections instead of making really small pieces, so that's just easier for me. So you're going to need 2 of these, 1 for each crate. So I will just set this aside here and set my paper aside for my next project. Okay, that's all we need with the Big Shot for this crate holder. Let's go ahead and put this together. I'm going to take out the little pieces here, and it's scored on here. If you look closely, you can see where it's scored. So we're going to go ahead and carefully fold in where it's scored. It might rip a little bit because the paper's so thin, so just be super careful. You're just going to fold this across here, and then these 2 pieces will fold in carefully. You'll barely be able to see where it's scored. Carefully fold those in. And this piece here. Okay, so it should look like this, and then this piece here, let's see here. This one here is also scored. Very carefully folded over. That one didn't show up as well, so, okay. So now I have my little half of my crate right here. Do you guys see that? We're not gonna put anything together yet. Let's go ahead and do that on the other side. Very carefully fold in where it's scored, and you might not be able to see it that easily. And if you have to use your Stampin' Trimmer or simply scored and kind of lightly make your own scores, you can do that as well. Be very careful. Okay. So there should be 4 on each that you're folding in. Super easy to do. Since we're doing it together, I know you can do it. Okay, so now we have these pieces that look like this. All right. And do you remember that piece that was cut off right here? You're not even going to see it because you can put it on the very bottom of your crate. So it's on the bottom, or if you want it to be on the inside bottom, like this, you can do that as well. I think that's what I'll do. So I'm going to start with putting some adhesive on the bottom. You can use our tear and tape adhesive if you'd like. Or for me, I'm just going to use the snail for the bottom of this one. Just line it up carefully so it's not showing. It might be easier if you do it this way on the bottom. Okay, line it up and then press firmly. All right, so now we have the bottom of our crate. It's kind of coming together, isn't it? So for me, what I like to do is lie it flat, and then you can use either adhesive, or if you have liquid glue, you could use that as well. I think I'll go ahead and try to use our fine tip glue pen, or you can use, what should I use? Actually, maybe I'll use the tear and tape. I think I'm going to do that. I have all these different adhesives to try, so we'll save that. Maybe we'll use that on a different part. Okay. Now, where's my tear and tape? Here is some tear and tape right here. And this is great for boxes, bags, 3-dimensional items, and it fits perfect. You can just pull a little off and tear it. It's called tear and tape because you don't have to cut it with your scissors. It's not full of static. So I'll go ahead and do that on the other side as well. And this is probably the most difficult part of the whole entire class. So if you're brand new and you're like, oh my goodness, so much work, it's just for the crate, I promise. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I can actually take off, I think I will go ahead and take off both sides. And if it's a little bit longer or wider than you'd like, whoops, now is the time to kind of with your hand kind of roll it up a little bit. Do the same thing on this side. I'll take off my tape, roll it up a little bit. There we go. And now you can simply decide what you want to do. Let's fold these up here. We'll do one side at a time. I'm going to do the bottom part first. Did you see how I did the bottom? And then I'm going to do the bottom part on this side too. Probably a smart idea to do that. The bottom part on this side, and then turn over here, and we'll tuck this in. There we go. Now we almost have our crate, and you did it. So if you're like me and you're not really, I mean, I know how to make them, and I know how to do it. I don't make them as much, the three-dimensional items, but isn't that adorable? So now we have a cute little note card holder. You're going to make 2 of those with the different wood textured paper. You can decide which ones you want to use. And then let's go ahead and I'm going to make 1 of the finished items. We're going to fold the Berry Blast ribbon in half, and you're using half and half, and we'll go ahead and do the same thing with the white twine. We're going to cut it in half. We'll use half and half. Okay, I'm going to set 1 aside because you know I'm only using 1 here. Now let's go ahead and grab our Berry Burst ink pad, and we are going to stamp the words that say "For You" from this stamp set. So look for the one that says "For You," and let's put it on one of our clear acrylic blocks. And I'm going to take my little tag here, and this will all be ready to go. And I will finish this up at the very end when we're putting all the note cards in it, but now I have this all ready. And this piece here, we can go ahead and get this ready as well. This is our doily. Go ahead and fold it in half. And what I do is I just put a little bit of adhesive on the inside of both. And I think actually we're gonna cut the inside just a little bit so it fits inside of it. And I think we're gonna cut the sides a little bit as well. Okay. I forget about these things. When I design it, I remember. And then when I'm doing the video, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's go ahead and line this up in the front. And then fold it over. Now I have our cute little doily on here. And then this part will all be for the packaging. So I'm just gonna stick it in here for now. And we'll package it all up. You're making 2 sets of 4 note cards. And we're gonna put these in a cello bag. I'm gonna set that aside for now. Okay, so let's take the pile here, and we'll go ahead and just start with the top piece. And we're going to need everything from the pieces of white 3x6, the whole berry in white for this card. And we're going to be using the Berry Burst ink pad. For this one, we will need the Hello Friend stamp, and we'll need the heart stamp up here. So let me grab the heart and let me grab the Hello Friend, and let's put these on some blocks. Hello Friend, and the heart. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we also need, oh I forgot, we need this beautiful background right here, these roses and flowers. And we're going to use a big block for that. All right. Now you will need a background piece of paper. You can use a computer piece of paper, or if you have our Stampin' Grid paper, this is good to use as well. And I'm going to go ahead and separate these and show you what you need for each card. So we're going to separate the 2 bases, 2 card bases, 2 Berry Burst layers, 2 Whisper White layers. You're going to have 2 Berry Burst stitch shaped squares, and you're going to have a piece of Berry Burst ribbon that you can go ahead and cut in half. We're using half on each. And then you have 1 Whisper White cardstock. So go ahead and you can do both of these with me, or you can just do one like I'm doing and do the other one later. We're gonna go ahead and take our piece right here, our square, so just the white that's a square. We're gonna start with the Berry Burst, and we're going to start with the background piece right here. So go ahead and ink it up, and all we're going to do is at the bottom, stamp this like that. All right, now we have our background, and while we have our Berry Burst to open, we're gonna go ahead and stamp Hello Friend in the top right, like that, Hello Friend. And now also while we have the berry out, we're gonna take our piece of Whisper White paper, and like I said with the first project, you're going to have a lot extra. So if you mess up, that's okay, or if you wanna make more projects. So we're just gonna stamp one heart. You'll need one for each of the cards. And we're going to use the framelit for this one that goes with the heart, which is so nice. This will be great for Valentine's Day as well. All right, I'm gonna pull out my Big Shot here and put the heart on my base and put the framelit around it. There we go. Put the plate on it and then run it through. And set that aside. We can go ahead and punch that out and now finish up our first card. What we're going to do with the Whisper White thick card base is we're going to score this at 3 inches. This is our thick Whisper White, and because it's so thick, you really need to score it before you fold it, or you're gonna get bumpy edges. So I've scored it, and now I'm going to use our bone folder, and now I can put this card together. I'll go ahead and take my base that I've stamped on, put some adhesive on it, and add it on our beautiful Berry Burst cardstock. Isn't that so pretty? And now we're going to go ahead and take this piece of the Berry Burst ribbon and just use some regular tape. So I just have regular tape, and I'm going to bring it around here and add the tape on. And while it's upside down, I'll go ahead and add my adhesive and put this on my white base. Now I'm going to take a Stampin' Dimensional and put it on the back of my heart and just put it on my square here. And I'm going to turn the square upside down. And I kind of want a lot, so I'm going to do 4. I want the whole entire thing to pop up, and it's going to be on top of ribbon, so I want it to be nice and secure when I do that. Go ahead and take the backings off here. Oops. And we're going to put this right here. And there's one of your note cards. Isn't that super cute? So you'll be making 2 like this. Ta-da! All right, I'm going to set this aside. And we're ready for project number 2. And you're going to need, for this one, you'll need one of your pieces of the wood background paper. So whichever, oh, did I already pick one? I already picked one. It's right here. This is the one I'm using. So you'll need this, and this you're going to use for these 2 cards, and then you'll need a strip for another card as well, and I'll tell you what to do for that. We're using the one with the Berry Burst background card base. So set everything else aside, and this is what you'll need. The stamps that we're using for this one is a note for you and the chicken. So grab the chicken and grab a note for you, and we'll go ahead and do our stamping first. Let me see if I can find any smaller blocks. I have them all hidden at the bottom. Okay, so I have my chicken on here, and we're using Berry Burst again with this card. Grab that. And a note for you. So we're going to go ahead and separate these. you'll have 2 of the berry, you'll have 2 of the little classic label punches, 2 of the circles, you'll have 1 doily, and 1 piece of white. So let me tell you what we're gonna do with the doily. So the doily, let's go ahead and just fold it in half, and we'll go ahead and just cut it. Or if you wanna use your paper trimmer, you can. We're going to cut it in half here, and you're gonna actually have an extra half doily when you're finished here, because we're just using a 1/4 on each of the cards here. So I'm gonna fold that in half. Okay, so you'll use 1 on each side, and then we need this here, and I can set this part aside over here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pull out our Stampin' Trimmer, and we're going to cut, so 2 3/4. We're going to do this piece right here, 2 3/4, and then set this aside. And then we're going to cut 2 3/4 again. And if you want to cut 2 3/4 again, then you'll have 1 for each of your cards. And then you're going to need this piece for your next card. So save the extra piece. All right, so I'm gonna put our Stampin' Trimmer away. And now I'm gonna go ahead and do my stamping. So I'm gonna pull out my Berry Burst. And this is the same, you guys have a ton of white. So we're gonna stamp the chicken, and then we're gonna stamp a note for you. And I'm gonna line that up as best as I can. Flip it over if I mess up. There we go, a note for you, good enough. I'm in a weird angle when I'm filming my videos. So if I was stamping that normally, I'd be able to see it a lot better. All right, so now let's go ahead and pull out our Big Shot. And on this one, all we're going to be cutting is the chicken. So let's put that on there. Let's find our chicken, line it up, put the top on, run it through. Okay, and just punch your little chicken out. There we go. So now let's go ahead and put this cute card together. Let's fold our Berry Burst cardstock in half. This one you don't have to score, but if you want to, you can. And now we're going to take our wood background paper, and all of us are going to have different ones. Okay, we're going to take our doily. I'm just going to add the adhesive so it doesn't show through on the corner. I'm just going to put this up here in the top left corner like that. And then I'm going to take a dimensional and put the dimensional on my chicken so it pops up. It's actually a rooster. I know the difference because I have 23 chickens and 0 roosters. Now I'm going to go ahead and just put adhesive on the bottom of this piece because I want it to be just flush. I'm going to put that down here at the bottom. And I'll go ahead and take a couple more dimensionals. I can just use 2 on this one. Oops. And now let's, got stuck on my fingernail. And then we can put this right here. Ta-da! And here's another one with a different background, so you can see the difference, and you'll all have different backgrounds. It depends on which one you want to use. Okay, so we have that card done. Now let's pull it out here. Let's set our wood piece of extra paper aside. We're gonna do this one next with the Bermuda Bay card base. For this one, we're using Berry Burst, Daffodil Delight, Bermuda Bay, and Early Espresso ink pads. And let's go ahead and separate these into 2 piles. This one's a really fun one. Oops. So we have 2 piles here. I believe we should have just about 2 of everything on this one. This one was a labor of love. I can thank my assistants for cutting out all of these beautiful squares and punching all of these out. I know I have another one somewhere. Oh, it's over here. Okay. If you're missing a piece, it might be hidden under something else in your class kit. Okay, so let's set this aside. Now what we're going to use here is we're using the star, the moon, the chicken, and the heart. We're using all of these four, and we're using Hello Friend again. So let's go ahead and pull out Hello Friend, my chicken, the heart. Now we need the star and the moon, and we're going to need to clean off the chicken and the Hello Friend because we use them. Do you remember where we used them? On the other project, and so we need to make sure we clean them because we're using different color ink on this one. Okay, so I have my Stampin' Scrub here. I'm going to spray some of our Stampin' Mist, and I'm going to clean up the chicken, and I'm going to clean up Hello Friend. All right, let's go ahead and start by stamping on our banner here, and we're using the Early Espresso ink pad, and we're going to stamp Hello Friend. There we go. And remember that you're making 2 of these cards. I'm only making 1 on the video. Okay, let's set that aside. Now we are going to, now we're not using the Big Shot on this card at all. Let's go ahead and pull out your piece of Early Espresso ink, and we're going, our square, and we're going to stamp the star in Early Espresso on Early Espresso. Set that aside. Now we're going to stamp the chicken in Bermuda Bay. That one's going to be fun. We're stamping the chicken in Bermuda Bay on Bermuda Bay. Ta-da, I've got my chicken. Now we're going to stamp the moon on the Daffodil Delight with the Daffodil Delight. And this one is going to go this way. There we go. There's the moon. And now the last one we're going to stamp is Berry Burst Heart onto the Berry Burst cardstock. There we go. Now we're going to put this together, and it's going to look like a quilt a little bit. Patchwork. Is that what it's called? Patchwork quilt. Let's go ahead and fold the Bermuda Bay cardstock in half. And we'll go ahead and put on our piece of crumb cake next. Now this part, what I might suggest is kind of laying it out first how you want it. There's going to be a border of crumb cake. Probably should have done this before I put it on, huh? Okay, so it's going to have a border of crumb cake, and this is how I have it for mine. I have it set up like this. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my Berry Burst. And these are going to be flush. Now remember, there's about 1/4 of an inch if you want to just start one side, bottom right. I think I might have said left. And then I'm going to do this one next. Might have done a little bit too much over. So you can lay them out and kind of see how you want them first before you do it. Okay. Mine's a little crooked, but hey, that's how my creations are, a little crooked. Okay, and now we're going to take the Hello Friend banner, and I am going to put on 2 of our dimensionals. And put this right on the top. Hopefully people won't notice it's totally crooked. Here's the one that I did that wasn't totally crooked. What I might suggest then is if going ahead and doing it on your crumb cake first, and that way you can trim off if there's a little bit extra. But honestly, I don't even think my friends are going to notice. They're going to know that it's homemade with love for them. All right, we're on to our very, very last one. And that's right here. So let's go ahead and separate these into 2 piles. You will have 2 of the Daffodil Delight, 2 of the crumb cake, 2 circles, and you will have 1 crumb cake quarter sheet, and we're going to use the rest of our wood. So for this one, let's go ahead and start with our cutting, our little piece here. Let me see here. We're going to cut this at 3/4. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take a little 3/4 inch piece on the bottom so you can have a full piece 3/4 inch. And then we're going to cut this one by 2 3/4. Right there, perfect. All right. This little piece here, if you want to, just go ahead and add it onto the bottom of your crumb cake. Now remember, again, all of us have different wood texture paper. Okay, let's go ahead and start our stamping. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to be using the star for 3 things on this one, and we're using the welcome. So let's use our welcome. This would be nice to bring your neighbors. If you have new neighbors or someone new in your community or at a club and you want to bring them cookies or treats, this is a cute little card, note card to attach to it. Sometimes we don't need a full card. We just want something just small and cute, right? So this is perfect for that. So let's go ahead and take our early espresso. We're using all of the ink colors again on this card. So we're going to stamp welcome at the bottom right here, and let's just set that aside. Okay, now we can put away our early espresso ink pad. We're done with that color for the class, and we're going to need a cleaner. You need to clean off your stamp in between every one on here. So let's go ahead and start by cleaning it off. Okay, now on this, remember that you're using half for one card and half for another card. Let's go ahead and start. Make sure I got it really clean. I'll start with my yellow first. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up in the Daffodil Delight, stamp it on here, and then I'm going to clean it off. And now I'm going to use it in our Bermuda Bay. Clean it off in between. And I'm going to use it in our berry burst over here, or if you want to use it up here, there you go. Berry burst. And now we're going to use the star from our framelit set for this one. Let's pull out our Big Shot and pull out the star. So I'm going to be cutting all of these out with the star. And the star is great to use. This is actually a great for the 4th of July holiday, any patriotic holidays. In Utah, we have what's called the 24th of July, and that's another celebration that we use the same colors and everything on. And we have the 4th of July. This is great for New Year's Eve, right? Do you guys use stars for New Year's Eve? I don't know. Maybe you can make them the glimmer paper or the foil. All right, punch that, put it aside. The same thing here. There we go. Run that through. All right, and I'm going to set this aside. Okay, now I can go ahead and finish this last card. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of each of my stars because I want them to pop up. And now, which one am I going to start with? I'm going to start with my yellow Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to put it kind of up at the top up here. And then I'm going to add my Bermuda Bay over to the side, and they can kind of go off of your circle a little bit. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn these over and add just 3 dimensionals. And, whoops. We're going to put this right here on top of our paper right here, and let's fold over our Daffodil Delight cardstock, and we are done with all of the note cards. Oh my goodness. Put this on here. Isn't this super fun? All right, now let's go ahead and do the packaging. Let me grab all of the cards that we made. So these are all of the cards that we made, and decide which one you want to represent your note card collection, and grab one of your cello bags. Okay, let me pull this stuff out. So for me, I want to go ahead and put, this one is my favorite. We all have our own favorites. I'm going to put this in the front. Plus I like that it matches the packaging. So I'm going to put that in there. And now this is the part, kind of, it's a little tricky. Just kind of stick your hand in here first, and this will fit in here. So carefully put your three-dimensional bag in there like this. And if you would want to, on the bottom, you can fold this in and tape it on the bottom if you want. I'm going to go ahead and do the top first. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap my ribbon around here. And it's so cute. And yes, we do carry the 6x8 cello bags. The item code is marked on there for you on your supply sheet. Okay. This one might be just a little tricky, especially if you're filming. Hopefully my nose was not in the shot. Okay, so I'm going to do it really tight. And now I'm going to go ahead and take this string here. And this is a little bit, this is why I like the twine, is because you can easily add something to any packaging. Looks like my little Bella is awake. My little Bella. She starts barking. I think somebody might be here visiting, my kids. Okay, I'm just going to tie that on like that. And now this part, you can just go ahead and turn this around so it's showing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Now that I have it closed, I'm just going to take some regular tape. I want this to sit up flat. So you can just fold this over. And now it'll sit up nice and flat for you. Whoops. Might have made that a little bit too low. Pull that up just a little bit. Just a little titch here. Okay. Get your card showing. And now let's go ahead and add this around here. I usually just tie it in the back with my string, if I can. This is why this is a class video, because you guys get to see how long it takes me to add a string, a thing to a project. There we go. And I'm going to double knot it in the back, or I can bring it back around and tie it in the front. This part, I can whip out a card or a scrapbook page, no problem. It always takes me a little more time to make a note card or a tag or something to add. Okay, so now I have that. And if you want to add your other double knot in front of here, you can. Just to kind of puts it a little bit more securely in there. And mess with it. There you go. And we have our For You, your little packaging for your cards. Get your cards to stand up a little bit more like mine. Well, thank you so much for signing up for my Woodwords online class. I hope you had a great time making the projects today. And I hope to see you in future online classes. Have a great day. Bye-bye.